I feel I have to mention something as lately I've been getting many questions about positive growth and positive gearing, and I'm already talking a little bit about this when I'm talking about regional. And my beef is this. If we look at the data suggests, and let's use Sydney as an example, okay? Not only because I live in it, but it's the most expensive state in Australia, capital city in Australia. 3.2% is the gross rental yield for Sydney properties, okay? And the gross price, or the median dwelling value for Sydney properties is $1,014,000, okay? So let's say that's shy of $32,000 income. But you're also going to pay 6% interest at the moment. So you're receiving $32,000 income and you're then spending $60,000 on interest, okay? So at the end of the day, we're spending about $30,000 on interest repayments. Plus as well, before you get that income, you're going to get taxed on it. You're going to have to pay rental management fees, insurance costs, maybe strata, maintenance costs, etc. So that 3.2% actually ends up being a lot less net of all costs, okay? But let's just look at the relationship between price and yield. So the yield there is low. It's the lowest in Australia, and it's the lowest in Australia because the price point is the highest in Australia. It's pretty obvious. If we look at houses, houses are obviously a little bit more expensive, which are in the red table there. And you can see a house in Sydney about $1.23 million with a rental yield lower than the median above at 1 million. The rental yield now has dropped to 2.8. Now, if we look at units, units are typically cheaper because there's more of them stacked on top of each other. They dilute pricing a little bit. So units in Sydney about $776,000. But look at the rental yield. It's actually jumped up 4.1%. And you can see that. You can see that the price point and the rental yield have a symbiotic relationship. Okay, they feed off each other. They change. And if we look at regional, okay, and now this is regional, we can see that the regional rental yields are really attractive. 4.1, 5%, 5.1, 6.4. Very attractive, okay? And I own some investment properties in regional, but that's because I've already created the capital growth foundation structure, if you will, for my portfolio that now I can look at purchasing cash cow style type properties. But if I just focused on cash cow style properties in the very beginning of my portfolio journey, I would own very few properties because I'd hit my debt ceiling very, very quickly. And here you can see combined capitals in that box versus regional. And you can see straight away, combined capitals, lower rental yield, combined regional, higher rental yield, combined capitals, higher price point, combined regionals, lower price point. Okay. And the rule of thumb here that I've kind of written up just in this table to make it as articulate as possible is that high prices are typically attributed to properties in premium locations, closer to the CBD. Those higher priced properties, though, will receive lower rental yields. Okay, they will. The rent's going to be lower in percentage-wise. Now, because the demand is always higher in areas that have premium locations, you're also going to get higher growth of value. Now, if we flip that and we look at lower priced properties, like these ones that some clients want to purchase in regional areas, they're further from the CBD because the location's not as attractive, which is why the prices aren't that high, okay? But it does also mean that the rental yields are going to be higher. The rental yields are going to be attractive, okay? You're usually also going to have a higher percentage of renters versus owner-occupiers in those areas, which is probably another reason why rents can be higher. There's demand for it. However, the capital growth in those areas is typically lower, always, okay? And there's plenty of data to back this up. All I'm saying is I get frustrated because I see some buyer's agents, and I use the term loosely, advertising capital growth expectations on some of their purchases of like 10, 15, 20, 30% plus. It's ridiculous numbers, okay? It's insane snake oil salesman nonsense. Yes, it's true. Some of these properties have made double-digit returns since the advent of COVID. But these areas needed a black swan catalyst to increase population. I bought a property last year that was in regional Western Australia for myself, okay? I purchased this property at, I'll do an example of it next month, I promise. I purchased this property at $395,000. It's 40 kilometers from the CBD. It's a 700 square meter block. The previous owners 8 years ago bought it for $315,000. And I bought it 8 years after for $395,000. Very little growth for them. But since I bought it, it's gone up 20%. Okay? Fantastic. Do I expect that growth to continue? Absolutely not. Why did I buy it? Because I bought it for $395 and I'm renting it for $500 a week. Okay? I'm getting a great rental yield for it. It is a cash cow property. And when my capital growth properties make enough money and I want to sell some of them, I might take some of that profit, pay off these cash cow properties, and then have an unencumbered asset paying me an income. But could I create a portfolio based just off those properties when typically they're not going to see significant capital growth? No, it's not going to happen. Okay? So my warning is just beware when you hear stuff like this, because if it sounds too good to be true, it is. Listen, if you like what you've seen here and you want to be kept in the know with what's happening with the Australian property market, make sure you like the video, smash that subscribe button for me. If you'd like to further your education, you can download our ebook. The links are in the YouTube description below. I want to thank you for your time today, and I will see you next month. Goodbye.